A lot of people have asked me, who do I think is going to win the next US election? Is it going to be Donald Trump or is it going to be Biden? And in my personal opinion, I think it's too close to call. I think this is going to be, in a way, very much a repeat of the Hillary Clinton Trump election, or even the last Joe Biden Trump election, in that it's going to be very, very close. And I could very well be wrong. Originally, I did not believe that Trump was going to win the presidency because I did not believe that the bourgeoisie would allow it to happen. Like, this was just something they were not going to tolerate. And as we saw, it's something they really shouldn't have tolerated. But there are significant things to note about this election. Trump will win the nomination for the candidate for the Republican Party. I think that's a foregone conclusion, and Nikki Haley's already admitted that. But what I think is significant here is that he doesn't have the commanding lead that normally the head of the party does. Usually they win by 90-something%, and usually in the high 90s. But as you see, as of late, Trump isn't winning by these large margins when going up against Nikki Haley. I believe the last one, I forget where it was. I believe it was a Super Tuesday one where he only got like 60-something%. And that's very significant because it means he doesn't have that monolithic support. And then you see other polls that show people who do vote for the Republican Party saying that they're not going to vote for Trump, that they're probably, as a result, going to stay home that day and not vote. And that could very well be a massive, massive problem for the Republican Party. And on the other side, in the Democrat side, we're seeing almost the same thing. Biden is mostly winning by very, very large margins, but sometimes he's not winning by that large a margin. And we saw in Michigan where there was the significant refusal to pick a person in that area, which is, that particular area was largely Arab, and there was like 20 some odd % that said they had no preference or weren't picking someone, etc. And that is linked directly to Israel's ongoing genocide inside of Gaza and the unpopularity of that. Imagine that. And this could also hurt Biden in the exact same way as well. And it almost seems like both candidates are shooting themselves in the foot. They're both doing wrong things that are harming both of their presidential chances. But this is all there is to choose from. If one accepts that bourgeois democracy actually is a democracy, which I and many other Marxists would maintain is not. And another thing I found was interesting is how the so-called anti-racist liberal really kind of took their mask off during this. Now, they did go kind of mask off when Israel started attacking Gaza. Just instant justifications for carrying out genocide, etc. But it was interesting watching the media do it with regards to the actual Democratic Party itself. Every time it would be brought up that people were angry about how the people are angry about the way Palestinians are treated, and they criticize Joe Biden, that being Democrat supporters, they always refer to them as Arabs. Whenever there's outrage, it's Arabs are angry at it. Completely failing to acknowledge that there are plenty of black and white and Asians who are also against genocide. That's not an exclusively Arab issue or Arab opinion. genocide in general is bad. But you see what they're doing. They're still pandering to that core racism by saying, oh, it's the people here oppose Biden's stance on Israel and Gaza because of a high Arab population. Meaning it's all to be dismissed, that opinion is invalid because it's just the Arabs who think that. Oh, don't worry about it. Don't worry about the election. Don't worry about the popularity. It's just the Arabs that don't like him. But you see the kind of pernicious way that they're doing this by refusing to acknowledge the plenty of white, black, and Asian people who are also against genocide. And it's interesting watching the news do that. Particularly heavily Democrat-oriented media like CNN or MSNBC. So all of that together, and now when we consider the now shifting opinion where the media is starting to kind of acknowledge that Israel's wrong for sending the military in to shoot up a bunch of people standing around waiting for food. I mean, that really shouldn't be difficult for someone to understand is wrong. Gunning down a bunch of innocent, unarmed people who are starving, waiting for food to be delivered is an act of inhumanity. Okay, that's mass murder, and that's part of an ongoing genocide. But you see the mental gymnastics people are coming up with, particularly people who are Democrats, who are looking for a way to justify Biden not doing anything. They're looking for a way to justify what Israel does. In doing that, because they do have a bias, a racist view of Arabs, despite claiming that they don't. It shouldn't take that to realize that, it shouldn't be a question of whether or not gunning down innocent, unarmed people begging for food is wrong. That's pretty clear cut. That's wrong. But people don't want to see it. Now, if someone's a Zionist who's adamantly pro-Israel, they'll justify anything. Absolutely anything. And deny anything that Israel does. And to them, it's not a matter of whether or not it's really justifiable, but it just simply did not happen. Conspiratorial level thinking. And anybody who disagrees with them is an anti-Semite, as we have repeatedly seen throughout all of Israel's statements during their ongoing genocide. But you can see how Israel's actions are being represented by the media and being represented by the Democratic Party, particularly the Democratic Party, because they are the ones in power in the White House. On one hand, saying the violence should stop, no more killing, and then just hands more weapons to the people who are doing 99% of the killing. I mean, this couldn't be any more blatantly contradictory statement, in that the statement essentially means nothing. Don't do this and then literally enable them to do it. Makes no sense. But there's always going to be some kind of mental gymnastics to try to justify that. And that's bound up with a lot of what's been going on with this election. So to answer the question that some people have asked me, I don't know who's going to win. I think it's too close to call at this point. And I think maybe closer to the election, it's also going to be too close to call. But I could very well be wrong. We're going to have to wait and see. Thank you for watching. If you like this program, then please head over to my Patreon page and set up a monthly donation. It's your donations that keep this program running. Also, if you would like, please rate, comment, subscribe, and share in various social media.